Hope you're doing good. Micah back with another video. Back here to talk about the Oura Ring. I never covered this on my channel, but I wanted to put in a good amount of time using this ring. As you guys can see what it looks like right now. I have been using this since March 31st, 2023. So we're coming up on a full year in about a month, 11 months rather. But nonetheless, a year of using this Oura Ring. It's a smart ring that essentially logs in your vitals, certain vitals like your heart rate or heartbeat, your sleep primarily. That's what it was really made for, was sleep, your walking, steps, and they continue to add features throughout the year. So we're going to get into some of that. How's my journey been throughout a year using this ring, and can I recommend it, especially in the light of a couple other companies jumping into the ring game, the smart ring game. So if you guys are interested in this video, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. It's all free. That way you know it's our video, so you and I can sit back, relax, see what's cracking. Now let's get into the video. And the first thing I actually want to talk about when it comes to this ring is comfortability. How comfortable is it? It's very comfortable, actually. Now, inside, as you guys can see, there's those 3 grooves right there. Those are the sensors that are used to read your vitals, your pulse, rather. And they recommend you wear it on one of your index fingers. As you guys see, I took it off this one. But I have been kind of all over the place with this because my fingers have kind of fluctuated in weight. So I was using this as a wedding ring, for a good little bit, because it is a great replacement from that perspective. Maybe you didn't want to use it that much for vitals, or you weren't as concerned about the accuracy, so you didn't mind wearing it on a different finger. It's a great wedding ring replacement because very light and out of the way. I have the Horizon model. I do not have the Heritage model because I like the symmetry of the all-round look. The Heritage also looks relatively nice as well, and that's one I would definitely wear on a different finger. Oh no, I would actually wear on my wedding ring, my wedding finger, if I actually got that one. They also dropped a new color. It's a brushed titanium. This is basically just a polished black, and as you see, it's it's been it's been wearing out. It bumps up against things very easily because it's on your hand, and it just scuffs so easily. But it still works, so that's the main positive note coming out of this, is that it still works just fine. It does blink red lights and green lights, and essentially that's when you know it's actually doing some reading, some sensing of what's going on with your body. It it's a pretty decent ring overall. Over at night, it can be a little rough sometimes because let's say it's the hand you use to kind of move stuff on your, get the crumbs out your eyes or wipe some off your face or whatever at night if you're sleeping, and this thing is reading your pulse, or those lights start blinking. That's where it can get a bit uh, uh, that's where discomfort can arise. It can get very uncomfortable because that light's shining all in your eyes as you're just rubbing your face in some way, shape, or form. Or sometimes it might bother your spouse a little bit. So I would say keep that in mind. I largely think that's a smaller issue because if you're good at going to sleep, you shouldn't have too much of a problem with this light kind of beaming in your eyes. So from that perspective, I would say it's a small concern, very small concern, but I thought I'd highlight that nonetheless. I have started wearing this more often as a sleep tracker because I have an Apple Watch now. So I find the Apple Watch to be a bit more accurate from that perspective when it comes to like my steps and whatnot. But from a comfort perspective, because I've been able to kind of get my weight a little bit under control when it comes to my fingers, working out, exercising, playing a lot of basketball, this, that, and the third. This fits a lot better on this finger. Now, my knuckles are the only thing that kind of gets in the way because, well, when you play basketball, you just inevitably jam all your fingers. And that's why I can't wear it on this finger because my knuckle is too jammed. My knuckle has been bruised, I think, from all the jamming on my left index, and my fingers just a little thicker than it should be. And so trying to slide this on this finger is a little rough. And actually, I can feel the pressure of this squeezing on this finger way more than any of my other fingers. So I wear it on my right index finger, on my wedding finger. I don't wear it regularly on this finger because it gets in the way of like holding my phone. So like if I don't have a case on it, of course, and even if I did, you see how, you just typically hold it like this? Well, the ring being up against it always gives me like this very weird itchy sensation when it's rubbing across the back of the phone, and that just annoys the life out of me. So like I have to try to hold the phone like this now, so that way the ring's not in the way. I don't think I'd have a problem if I could wear it on this finger, which would mean I would have to get a bigger size, but that's something to keep in mind for my next smart ring if I decide to get one, because I would like to compare the data that I get between the ring and the other upcoming smart rings, and or the ring and the watch, to see how accurate one is over the other. But again, when it comes to comfortability, holding the phone with this on my index bothers the goodness out of me. So for me, I'd rather wear it over here or not wear it at all, except for when I go to sleep, because now I have an Apple Watch to do my daily tracking while this tracks my sleep at night. So that's kind of like the use case this has kind of moved into. The price has still been consistent between basically $300 and $500, and $500 is it can get that high because of the color you can get. So Heritage costs slightly less at 250, I believe. This starts at 300, and then the colors will bump it up to 350, 4, and 450, $500. So just keep that in mind when you're considering buying these. They have a stealth color, which is the one I really wanted to get. Gold is what pushes it to 500, but yes, and the titanium I believe is now 500 as well. So those are some things to keep in mind when you're looking to evaluate whether or not you want to grab an Oura smart ring. Now let's get into the data. As referenced before, this does do a lot of tracking when it comes to different aspects of your life activities, and it has different little subjects it can you can choose from. If it detects that you did some working out, because you can't necessarily trigger workouts on here, it will just auto detect based off of heart rate, heart rhythm, your BPM, all that fun jazz. It will evaluate that kind of stuff, and then kind of auto detect where you playing basketball, where you running, where you walking, where you jogging, this, that, and the third. Maybe certain lift motions, it will trigger specific workouts. So you can't necessarily trigger workouts with this, but it will detect workouts upon doing them while wearing the Oura Ring. And I find that to be pretty good because the always jump in the app and trigger stuff. I do that for this just so I can be as accurate as possible with the different sensors that are available for different workouts. So I do that there. But outside of that, I'm fine with the auto detection. And this is where it also can get a little interesting, because I think when it comes to walking, I think this kind of logs in a little too much of information. We'll get into this in a second. But if we scroll down, it should let me know weekly. Oh, okay, my walking equivalency last 8 weeks. I've been walking around 1.6 miles per week, I'm guessing. And I'm guessing it went up because the tag. So strength training and running, that was January 23rd. So as you see, it keeps saying 0.3, 3.2, 5.2. So it's interesting that it would log that kind of stuff in. I don't know if I was wearing my ring when I did start going back out to run, but this is where it would get interesting, because I'm like, well, how much are you actually logging in terms of my running and walking? Because besides this, whenever I would see it, it always would tell me I'm not running or walking that equivalency. So it's interesting that now that has been changed, but there has been a few more updates. So maybe they tweaked their algorithms for walking, and maybe I'll put this on and try it again to see just how accurate this can be in comparison to my Apple Watch SE, and see which one, if they come close in comparison. The reason why they probably still won't though is because this is a ring, right? So this is going to be on your hand, which will catch way more movements, finger fiddling, right? Just doing a lot of whatever will probably still trigger steps. And so although I guess in a way your hands were active, that is active calories burned, it's not considered a step. And so I guess that's where, to each his own as to whether or not they find that to be worth considering when it comes to the accuracy of their daily life tracking. So I just wanted to point that out about the walking, but now putting the ring down and kind of coming back in here. As you guys can see, this is just today. It says heart rate variability, 69 milliseconds. I would imagine that's pretty low. I have a pretty low heart rate because of the amount of sports I played. The midpoint of your sleep was 4 hours, 7 minutes behind your chronotype. So it gives you your body clock, where it's like the average person falls asleep maybe a little sooner, where I'm falling asleep crazy later. And, it's to each his own in terms of adjusting that. I got 6 hours and 17 minutes this morning with an average heart rate of 48 beats per minute. Now I feel like I may able to sleep longer than that, but again, and this is where sometimes the app can be a little interesting to navigate. But if you click on something and you click on something again, it'll get you to what you're looking for, or you can just go to the sleep tab down at the bottom. But as you guys see, I was in the bed for 7.5. I slept for 6 hours, 17 minutes. I usually sleep between 6 and 7.5 hours. I'm very optimal during that time range. Sleep efficiency was 84%, which I'm sure they're going to want to go up. And then again, my resting heart rate's 48 beats per minute. Sleep score is 64, which is fair. And as you see, total sleep, they would like for that to improve. But the efficiency was actually good. The restfulness was good. REM sleep was decent. Well, good, I guess you could say. Deep sleep was good. Latency was, I guess, relatively good. Timing is what, again, I told you they're going to want to be paying attention to. And of course, you get a better look with the scale here. This is the I like this design. A lot of apps now use this, Apple Health, Samsung Health, so on and so forth. They kind of use a similar bar graph to kind of show you the insights of your sleep. And then my oxygen saturation level, 97%, which is good. And as you see, my breathing regularity is optimal. I'm a nose breather, so that's the best way to also get oxygen into the body and to be regulated or circulated appropriately is through the nose. And there's actually a lot of research that talks about mouth breathers and how they actually disform faces. Your own face and your facial structure can change by mouth breathing in a bad way. So thankfully I never adopted that, but that does affect your oxygen intake and your physical look, which is wow. Shout out to Huberman for that information. And then, so this is the lowest heart rate I reached, which was 48 beats per minute. So as you see, it's pretty accurate in terms of, well, I don't want to say accurate, but it's pretty detailed. I would consider it accurate because I want to use this as some kind of metric to give me an idea of how I'm doing when it comes to my sleep. And then, of course, if I want to check the next day, I can, and boom. The next day or the day before, I had gotten 16 minutes more sleep in the same amount of period of sleep. Efficiency went up 3%. Resting heart rate was even lower. My sleep score went up 6.70. So now it says pay attention to my restfulness, which is interesting. And total sleep, of course, could have went up, but everything else is still pretty good outside of timing. Again, because I just go to sleep very late. Oxygen intake was 98% that time. So you see here again, it gives you good information, fluctuations in your data, and it also kind of shows how consistently are you necessarily asleep or awake, and that's where you kind of it starts building some of its credibility for understanding sleep patterns, this and the third. Now, what this can also, so if I click on the top again, just to bring up the calendar, just to show you guys, if I go all the way back to day one was March 31st. So that's when I started, March 31st, 2023. We're going into March 2024. So been a year, 11 months on the dot. And if you want to go into the activity tab, this is where you come in here. And this is where it shows your progress in terms of your goals. So if I scroll all the way over to today, since I was up till about 2:30 this morning, it's going to act as though I put some steps in. And to some degree, that's accurate. It probably is because I was doing quite a bit of walking around 1 o'clock this morning. Shows you the active calories burned. And this is where it's like, it might be a little higher than what you expected it to be because I don't know if I really burned 21 calories yesterday. And then, of course, walking equivalency is that of half a mile. Maybe that is true. So 65 calories burned from that perspective. So as you guys can see here, activity score is 64. I don't know if that's all that accurate. But as you said, stay active. I've been 37 minutes of inactivity earlier. I guess that was earlier today. And then, let's see, move every hour, zero alerts, meet daily goals, training frequency, training volume, recovery time is optimal. I do recover relatively fast, so I can confirm that metric. But as you see, it tries to do a good job of reading that information. Then you have this new metric that they added, which is resilience. And so, hey, while we're here, let's see if it has anything. No, nothing for today. Now I don't know. Yeah, I don't see nothing here. It said I had one, but maybe once I wear it for a day or so, it'll show how resilient I guess I was, so to speak. Your home page, rather, will kind of give you some information about, in terms of, I'm guessing that's sleep. Yep. No, well, it's a combination, I guess, of sleep. There's your sleep right here being fair, your body clock, your heart rate, activity, walking, right, resting heart rate, your activity goal, which is essentially your steps, and then baseline is 233,000. Lord have mercy. Now, yeah, daytime stress. It logs in your stress. It lets you know if you're being stressed out. And so, just showing you some of this real quick, as you guys can see, daytime stress. And I don't know how active this has been unless it goes back and tries to, no, so stress has been here since October. And so that's the other nice part, is once it goes into effect, that's when it will start trending, not trying to necessarily be backwards compatible with your information. And so that's also good. So Aura understands it needs to be more proactive with some features and insights into your health, because competition is on its way. And you also have this readiness tab right here. And this readiness tab essentially kind of examines your information differently to give you a readiness score. And so this is what it's kind of giving you right here, this kind of information. And being consistent with wearing it is where you're going to get, of course, the most benefit. You guys probably see here, and I don't want to use readiness as an example. Let's use sleep. I have a lot of dips, right? All those spaces in between the blue. Those are all times I wasn't wearing the ring, and that's because either I forgot to put it on. Look at this. I went a good period of time not wearing it. It's because I forgot to put it on. I forgot to charge it while it was on, right? Or I didn't bring it with me if I went somewhere, or I brought it with me and I forgot to put it on. So being mindful of wearing the ring is what's most important. The battery charge lasts about 2.5 to 3 days, depending on what you're using it for. But I would definitely say be mindful when wearing the ring. That way you can maintain consistent information about your sleep habits. And of course, you have all this. This way you can get trends, reports, experiments, circles. Just to give you a brief idea of what that is. Invite members to your circle and settings. I guess it's the way you can kind of see each other's progress. If somebody else has an Oura Ring within your circle of friends and family. Rest mode, blood oxygen sensing. That's a part of this as well. So you have quite a few things that it can trend. If you look at reports, it'll give you reports. Let's say you want a weekly report. Let's do February 11th through the 17th. Because I didn't wear it enough, it's not going to have that much information, right? Let's go back to a time where maybe I was wearing it a little more often. Your average readiness score for last week was 79. And so it will give you information in that way. So you can always find new ways to summarize information, get more insights about yourself. Even if you do trends, it'll give you trends, your data trends in more complete form in that way as well. So again, very, very good information that you can use when wearing your Oura Ring. And let's briefly talk about the competition. Because Oura Ring is just really just about lifestyle tracking, sleep tracking primarily, heart rate tracking. Samsung's Galaxy Ring is going to bring us a level of additional features such as wireless payment. So you can have the ring on and tap it at terminals to pay via your Galaxy Ring. I think that's a very smart idea and another way to add functionality to the smart ring. Apple is in the mix with an Apple Ring coming along the way, which may also do contactless payments or wireless payments. And being in the Apple ecosystem is just another way for it to add versatility to your ability to trend your life. And I'm interested with the Apple Ring. How's it going to work in conjunction with the Apple Watch? Are they going to be aware of each other and maybe gauge, okay, the ring's going to take care of these aspects of your life, such as sleep and, maybe walking. And then this kind of trends other, activities you do, such as working out and maybe running or whatever. Like, I wonder if how is that, what that algorithm is going to look like is what interests me, and whether or not they will have some kind of dual function to eliminate inaccuracies and actually boost accuracy when it comes to our information. That's what's going to be very interesting about the Apple Ring. But those are the two rings that are coming for Aura. There's a couple other smart rings out there. I think the one's called Motive or Motif, and there's another one I can't think of that is already kind of direct competitors to the Oura Ring. But I believe Oura Ring kind of reigns supreme because of the amount of advertising they've been able to put into other content creators primarily, and they have a Best Buy kind of like kiosk, so to speak, where you can kind of make a ring right then and there. And if they have the size available, they can get it to you. So Aura right now is leading the pack in terms of smart rings, in my opinion, with the big dogs coming from Samsung and Apple. So let me know down in the comment section below. A, what do you guys think about the Oura Ring? Do you use one? Have you used one before or thought about it? And B, are you excited for Samsung and Apple to get into the smart ring game, to really, again, boost the quality and accuracy of lifestyle tracking with simple accessories like a ring? Comment section is open for discussion. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, the notification bell. It's all free. That way you never miss my videos. So you and I can sit back, check, see what's cracking. Your man Micah signing out until the next video. It's morphin' time. Wait for it.